what I think a lot of investors in crypto aren't kind of formulating. They're thinking, okay, BlackRock ETF, it's really bullish, big money coming in. But I think also if you have a recession and the labor market cracks, there's going to be a reduction in leverage being used. There are going to be certain crypto investors who get squeezed on the leverage side and have to unload. If we flip over to the charts here, there's a level, right? So number one, we're trading between this 31 and 30,000 level. And as long as we stay in that zone, then there's essentially a neutral to positive bias that we can break out. So I would say slightly better than 50% that we could actually break out. This is known as a bull flag.
In the aftermath of the recent cryptocurrency rise, technical analyst Gareth Soloway has updated his price forecasts for Bitcoin and a few prominent altcoins. The confirmed investment chief market strategist mentioned that the Bitcoin chart is flashing a positive signal that could indicate a potential breakout within the next few days during a recent discussion with Paul Barron. The bull flag signal is a continuation pattern that develops as a temporary break in trend following a sharp price increase. Bull flags frequently result in another price breakthrough, as the name implies. This is why Soloway thinks there is currently a greater than 50% chance that Bitcoin will experience an upward bounce. On Thursday, the market leader in cryptocurrencies achieved a new 2023 high, momentarily reaching $31,500 before falling back to just over $30,000 per coin. According to Soloway, many individuals are attributing the increase to the hoopla surrounding the potential approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Even if the rally does start as the chart predicts, the technical analyst cautions that there are still several problems that could end it prematurely. According to Soloway, the possibility of a moderate to severe recession still looms over the American economy. Soloway reveals that traders and investors are still prepared to risk capital in the market in order to pursue the AI and current Bitcoin ETF hype during his interview with Barron. However, Soloway thinks that everything will soon come crashing down when people realize that a recession is coming and that the Federal Reserve will be unable and unwilling to support the market as they usually have. Soloway also issues a warning that Bitcoin, which hasn't yet experienced a significant breakout in comparison to other risk assets like the Nasdaq, may be pointing to something greater. In interviews, Soloway also discusses certain crucial price points to pay attention to, not just for Bitcoin but also for other top cryptocurrencies like Polygon, Solana, and Avalanche. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable post alerts for more content like this before we listen to additional observations and in-depth analysis from Gareth Soloway.
So I remain hesitant on Bitcoin, and I'll tell you why. In fact, let me share my screen if that's okay, because I want to show some charts here. So here we have the Bitcoin chart, and if you look at where we were on April 14th of 2023, we were right at this 31,000 marker. And if we zoom out, we can see technically that was a massive level going back to the bull market of 2021, right? So we fell here, then we went up to 65, then we came in and hit it multiple times before going to 69, and then coming back in and finally breaking down. So as long as we kind of stay in this range, I'm skeptical that this is anything but a bear market. And I know people are so bullish on Bitcoin, and long-term I am too, don't get me wrong. I just have been through enough bear markets where it's harder to convince me, because I've been burned so many times thinking it's a new bull market in the past, that I'm still waiting to see. And the one thing I would point out is, I mean, think about the massive moves in some of these tech stocks, right? So again, just look at the last, since we were up at 31,000 here, think about what technology has done. I mean, we've had weeks where I think the Nasdaq has been up almost every single week since then, yet Bitcoin hasn't broke out. And as a risk asset, why isn't that happening? And to me, that's a concern. Now, if we can break above this 31-ish level and hold, then I think you have some momentum to really have a bigger move up on Bitcoin. But till then, at least for me, I'm just remaining hesitant. So number one, we're trading between this 31 and 30,000 level. And as long as we stay in that zone, then there's essentially a neutral to positive bias that we can break out. So I would say slightly better than 50% that we could actually break out. This is known as a bull flag. If we break below 30,000 and we get below here on a daily closing basis, that starts to concern me. That tells me, okay, there may be trouble here. Now, where would this go? I think the big answer is right with this trend line. So this would be your next stopping point. This perfectly connects through these lows right through here. And that would mean that, again, if you break below 30 and hold there, you're headed down to about 26. 26 breaks, now you're starting to talk about 20,000 again as your target. And eventually, if that breaks, then you're looking at your lows. So for me as a trader, if you're bullish on Bitcoin, it's so imperative right now that you see a breakout. You have to get this thing to go, because a failed bull flag, this is a bull flag, if it fails, that tells you something. That pattern should not fail. It should lead to further upside. And so it tells you that there's bigger money selling into it. And then you have to start watching these pinpoint levels on the way down. So again, those would be my levels at this point in time. And I think for us as technical traders, you just watch this little narrow band right now and look for the price action. There's no doubt that a spot ETF is a positive, or multiple spot ETFs is a positive for the crypto space, especially for Bitcoin. But the question again too is, I would say, well, how long does it take? Does it take for the SEC to approve it? Because I think investors are piling into Bitcoin thinking it's within a month or two, when in reality, what if it's 6 months? What if it's 12 months? I mean, do investors have the stamina to sit around waiting for it, especially if the stock market starts to decline, if the economy starts to roll over at that point? So Polygon is one that I am semi-intrigued by. The big thing for me is so just recently in the last couple of days, we had this nice move up. But if you look at that high from June 22nd, we got up to it. And with Bitcoin's pullback the last 2 days, we've seen this declining as well. So the big thing to me is this upsloping trend line. As long as that holds, you have this wedge pattern that's getting tighter and tighter. And ultimately, if you can get a breakout on Polygon above this downsloping longer term trend line, which goes all the way back to early this year, that would be a big breakout and a potential signal that this has further upside. So right now, it's kind of what I would consider in the gray zone, where you're stuck in, and I can even erase this trend line to kind of even make it clearer. So really, you have this wedge pattern, and what you're watching for as a technician is, does it break above, let's say, 73 cents? Okay, that's very bullish. But if it breaks below 64 cents, that would then potentially participate or signal a move back down to the lows of 50 cents. And I do want to just point out is that there will be a point where we do get clarity on what it means to be a crypto security, right? What do they have to do? What do they have to reveal? And at some point, the market will look at that when they are regulated and say, this should have an X dollar amount in terms of valuation. And that's the key. Is I think as an investor, if you're a crypto investor, most of your money's Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's no doubt about it. But there is a possibility that 1% of your portfolio could turn into 10% of your portfolio by picking up something like this. Where you take a very limited amount of risk. Where if it goes to zero, okay, it was 1%, no big deal. But it could turn out to be a big risk return on your investment. So just looking at Avalanche here, so a couple things. So same kind of general chart as what we've seen with Polygon, right? Where you had this earlier move up from late June or so, kind of the 20s, the early 20s of the month, and it just kind of retested that level and kind of backed off. And then same kind of deal here is if you look here, you have this upsloping trend line. So what I like about this chart again is that if you can take out this high and then you have resistance at around 1405, that's your level. So again, as a technician, if it can break above this 1405 level and hold, you've got a lot of potential upside there. And again, the only thing, just a reminder for everyone, is that I don't believe the SEC is done attacking the alts. So again, that would be almost too easy for us. So again, any sort of investment that you decide to make, you have to take into the risk factors of these things. Just remember, the SEC is lurking like a great white shark. Solana is actually one of my favorite charts in the crypto space right now. So again, and by the way, that doesn't guarantee it's going to be a winner. I've been wrong plenty of times before. But what I do like about it is you had this low when we had that big panic, right? You had the big dump out with FTX and then the flush out here. And then it recaptured this level right here at around $14. From that point, we had the bull run up. And then all of this sideways consolidation, which turned out to be a perfect parallel here down to these lows. And look at where it retested recently, right back to that same level of support. So for me, this is actually, when you get a pattern like this, where you have a sharp move up, and then this is all sideways inside bar consolidation, this is usually the precursor to a breakout. And a breakout on this would take you to this previous level right up here to about $38. So again, there's no guarantees in life. We know that, but I do think that in terms of Solana, I actually like the chart and I like the technology.
What impact do you believe that would have on the price of crypto assets? Please respond to and comment on Gareth Soloway's interview in the space provided below. Additionally, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and view our other videos on cryptocurrencies and related topics. Thank you for watching.